I use this word step change, and I want to kind of talk to you about how big a deal this is that for all the innovation and technology we've seen over the years, there's some that stand out are bigger than others. And that's a lot of times we talk about as general purpose technologies, which is technologies that are applicable in so many different directions that they essentially fundamentally change what humans are able to do. They lift us up to another level, essentially, of ability. And again, it gives us something that who knew beforehand we'd never knew how to do. Now this, literally, when historians of technology talk, they talk about roughly 25 of these game-changing general purpose technologies, like the wheel, the printing press, electricity. Well, we're actually, these ones I'm talking to you now are in that league. We're in that kind of play at that league. And in fact, the AI one, I think, is worth saying it's even a more special one in some ways. Because essentially these step changes, if you think about most of human history before the Enlightenment, humans kind of had, let's say, could augment their physical power with like hanging onto an animal and dragging a plow with a horse or something. But it wasn't until the Enlightenment and the early Industrial Revolution that we figured out, hey, we could get a machine to augment our physical power so that can be like 200 horses pulling us. And in fact, that was a game changer that essentially led to the Industrial Revolution, the spread of prosperity. A lot of what the world that we live in today, all the institutions around that are kind of built on that core step change in our abilities. But here's the thing, up until now, anything to do with intelligence, meaning intelligence is like you can sense the world around you, you have to make reasonable kind of guesses on what's happening around you, you can make decisions around that stuff. Anything to do with intelligence had to have a human with it, associated with it. Even something simple like collecting cash at a toll booth or something. But in fact, what's happened recently in targeted things, let's say toll booth, we figured out how to automate that with a kind of a targeted AI, you could say now, reading license plates and doing that. But essentially what we're doing now with this generative AI is essentially we're opening up intelligence. We are now entering an era of intelligent machines. So now we are amplifying or augmenting our intelligence, something that we've never been able to do before. And now we can do it, and we can do it in every direction. It's not just one industry is going to benefit from it. It's just not one segment of society. It's going to be a transformative technology applied to everything, which is why there's so much excitement around this. But again, there are other categories. When you think of, let's say, the Enlightenment, which was really a huge moment. This is like, let's say, the founding fathers of America, that kind of era. Also European Enlightenment. But there was big changes to like communication with the printing press. And then there's big changes in energy. At that time was coal. We were able to harness coal for the first time. In production with those machines. So I mentioned like these things were giving us those step changes back then, which we've built a lot of the modern life. But today we're in all three of these same categories. Communication, you can think of AI as a communications technology, like simultaneously translating all languages right now. Even right now it's good. It's going to get even better than that. But also energy, I just mentioned the clean energy thing, and also production, how biological engineering is going to supersede kind of digging stuff out of the ground and do the industrial production over time. So when I talk about this thing about what a big deal our area is, things like when we introduced electricity, man, we took like 40 years to figure it out. And then the car revolution after the war, we kind of had to work with that. I'll return to that later. The digital revolution that we've all kind of lived through the last 40 years since the PC was introduced and the internet introduced, that's been going on. But what we're hitting now are a triple whammy step changes, 3 at the same time, and that's what I call the Great Progression, because it holds the keys to a lot of progress potentially here.